Welcome to the Armani Talks YouTube channel. I'm your host, Armani Talks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills in order to help you level up your way with words. Every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm dropping new videos on impromptu speaking, creative writing, social skills, along with other topics which will help you become much more articulate. Go on and join the tribe by hitting that subscribe right on below. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I appreciate you for joining me. And go on and help me out by dropping that like right on below. And let's enter today's topic. Are you currently someone that's losing your train of thought while you're speaking? Think about that for a second as I bring up Joe Biden. Nowadays, if you go on YouTube and you type in losing train of thought speaking, this particular string of keywords, you're going to see a whole bunch of different videos on Joe Biden. Either in a speech format or in a conversation, Joe Biden is speaking, and then suddenly he's like, "Where am I?" You could tell that he lost his train of thought while he was speaking. Now, you as the end viewer, whether you're consciously aware or not, subconsciously, you see Joe Biden, you see his white hair, his wrinkly skin, and you're associating the problem of losing train of thought while speaking as an old person problem. This poor man, he's so old, he's probably having dementia, something like that. But that's incorrect, because nowadays, young people are also going through this problem as well. And you want to know something? It's pretty scary. It was the best of times, and it was the worst of times. It was best because nowadays we're having more advanced technology. We're having more media empires being formed by one-person armies. We're having a golden era of content creation. All these strengths that we're heading towards are also the same dark parts. Due to all this content that's currently out, your attention is being fragmented more and more and more. And as your attention is being fragmented, you're conditioning a monkey mind into your reality, which is causing you to speak and every now and then lose your train of thought. It doesn't matter if you're an 85-year-old man or a 5-year-old girl. Both parties are susceptible to this problem. And you want to know what's even scarier? A lot of these people who are going through this problem have no clue that they have it. Think about this real quick. Let's say you're having a conversation with a friend who's extremely talkative. He could talk and talk and talk, but this is a good thing because you're busy every now and then and you don't want to talk that much. So he's consistently creating the conversation, and every now and then you got to contribute some timely points. When it's your time to finally speak, you're saying certain words, you're telling a little story, and suddenly you forget what you were trying to say. Your friend at this point is so used to carrying the conversation that he doesn't let you stumble for too long. He doesn't allow you to figure it out that you are currently losing your train of thought, and immediately he picks up the conversation right from there. Since he picked up the conversation so quickly, you are blinded to the problem that you just faced. You want to know something? Conversations can mask a lot of poor concentration skills. Let me say that again, because you're not going to hear this too often. Conversations can mask poor concentration skills because it gives you this aid, the training wheels of the bike. And if you are currently struggling, you may not even be aware. Understand that there's 5 levels of communication. Level 1 is communication with thyself, also known as self-awareness. Level 2 is one-on-one communication, also known as dialogue. Level 3 is many-to-many communication, also known as teamwork. Level 4 is one-to-many communication, also known as public speaking. And level 5 is human to machine communication, also known as media. These two levels, conversations and teamwork, can mask your poor concentration skills. All right, Armani, you're starting this episode off extremely negative. You're scaring me a little. Don't worry, I'm going to hook you up, because even though these two can mask your poor concentration skills, these three will make up for it. Level 1, self-awareness or public speaking or media. Notice what I just did. I said or. You don't necessarily have to improve all these three levels, but you could choose the one that works the best for you. So let me give you a few examples of improving your level 1 communication. Journaling. Journaling is one of the best ways to learn how to hold onto your thought and do it for an extended period of time. And not only are you supposed to write your thoughts down, you're eventually supposed to read your thoughts back. Here's what I recommend. Let's say you write every day from Monday to Friday. You do this in the morning because I know you say that you're going to do it, but for some reason your day gets busy and around the end of the night you're like, I'll do it the next day. Just get it done in the morning. But let's say you have an entry for Monday. I don't want you to read it quite yet. I want you to read back Monday's entry on Wednesday. You may be like, well, why am I waiting these few days? Why don't I immediately read it back? Because when you wait, what you do is you introduce a gap. And with that gap, you're able to view your thoughts back as a third-party observer. You're going to notice some stuff that you're doing right, some stuff that you're doing wrong in terms of your writing. And more importantly, you start to create your own journaling framework. The more that you keep doing this, the more that you prime yourself to understand your thoughts. And the more that you understand your thoughts, the easier it is for you to communicate for a prolonged period of time. If you're currently looking for a journal, I currently have the Armani Talks journal, also known as the Story Mode journals, which are available on Amazon. The beauty regarding these journals is that it's book styled, so you could always read it back. A lot of these journals nowadays are so stiff, look so boring. With the Story Mode journal, you're going to get a beautiful design that speaks right to your subconscious mind and allows you to look forward every morning to writing your entries. You'll see it on Amazon, and I'm going to drop the links in the description box and the pinned comment right on below. So that's level 1 communication. For level 3, and don't worry, I'm not flicking you off, public speaking. You could go to Toastmasters, and as you're communicating in front of a crowd, you'll notice that no one is there to help you. It is you by yourself. Toastmasters is a public speaking club where you can go, and initially you could volunteer as a guest to give table topic speeches, which are impromptu speeches. And I've done too many videos on Toastmasters already. I'm gonna drop the playlist in the description box right on below. And I'm also going to drop a Toastmasters club finder near me. Public speaking is a great way to be a modern day warrior and to challenge yourself to hold onto your thought for a prolonged period of time without relying on other people. This is the difficult one, but it's worth it because you'll see rapid improvements in no time. And the fifth one is media. What I'm doing right now is human to machine communication. I'm speaking to a camera. There's no Susie, there's no Michael to help me out if I forget a certain point. I'm being forced to speak for a long period of time and hold onto the train of thought. This is just my personal style. You could do a podcast. And if you're looking to start a podcast, I'll link the video that I already did on it right on here and in the description box right on below. With media, you challenge yourself to create content, and this allows you to hold onto your thought for a prolonged period of time. So these are just 3 suggestions I gave you: journaling, public speaking, or some form of media. And by doing this, you're going to eventually improve this muscle that we call the mind. I want to wrap this video up with a story about P90X. You ever heard about P90X? This is a 90-day workout program where you start from beginning to end and you can get the body that you desire. I wanted to get a six-pack. I wanted to be shredded. So I started to do P90X with a friend at the time who had all the DVDs and the equipment at his place. As we're doing it, I'm going through the schedule and I see one particular day we have to do yoga. I look at it and I'm like, yoga? Man, that's easy. The other parts of the P90 workouts have you jumping up and down, doing pull-ups, doing push-ups on these beach balls. Extremely difficult workouts. And I'm looking at yoga and I'm like, man, that's going to be so freaking easy. Imagine my surprise when I discovered that yoga was the hardest one from everything out there. And there was this one move that we had to do, I believe it was called a crane, where you had to hold your entire body up with your forearms. And it was difficult. Anytime that you were trying to hold yourself up, you would stumble and fall. I kept falling and falling and falling, and I'm thinking, yo, I'm never going to be able to do this move. I keep falling. But I continued on regardless. And the more that I continued on, the more that I noticed that eventually I could hold on for at least 1 second. That 1 second eventually turned into 2 seconds. Those 2 seconds eventually turned into 4 seconds. And as the 90 days were wrapping up, I was able to hold on to myself for as long as I wanted to. Eventually, I got slick with it and I started to raise my legs as well. I wasn't that ready yet, but if I stayed with it long enough, I would be able to. The thing that you want to understand is that as long as you keep holding and enhancing, then you can concentrate for as long as you want. I give you 3 fixes in today's episode. Pick whichever one works for you. There is no, this is the best and this is the worst. Whichever one that suits your personality the best and that you can stick with long term. Stick with that and keep holding onto it longer and longer and longer. I was eventually able to do the crane, and eventually you will be able to converse for a long period of time without fumbling, falling, and stumbling. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to go on and share this episode on your social media of choice so we can create more people who can concentrate for prolonged periods of time and speak with confidence. Go on and share the video right on below by hitting share and click your social media button of choice. And thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel.